What's going on, folks? I'm Andy, the Electric Geek. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, what we're going to be covering is everything that I picked up in April during the Arrow Easter sale. So I got 4 titles altogether, 3 Blu-rays and a 4K UHD title as well. I've not seen them all yet, but the ones that I have seen I'll speak a bit more about in detail, and if you hold on to the end of the video I'll be showing off a really cool subscriber mail that I got. So let's get stuck into these Blu-rays. This wee video is completely unscripted this morning. It's currently 7 AM, which is pretty early for me if I'm not up with my kids, and I've got work later on, so I thought I'd just get up early so I could get this film for you. So I apologise if my voice is a little bit croaky this morning and I look a bit like a rabbit in the headlights. So how I went about my Arrow pickups, if you like, was the first 2 Blu-rays I actually got direct from Arrow, and I kind of regret doing that because I had to pay postage on them, and the sale price is pretty much £9 or £8.99 depending on what retailer you go with, and then you pay £1 on top of that. A little bit more expensive than if I'd went with the Xavi option, which I'll get into later. But anyway, the first film was 1997's The Game from David Fincher. Now this is a film that's been on my radar for a while. My good friend Scott Monroe, who comments often in the videos under the guys The Campfather, has been saying to me for years to watch this. I've always been quite taken by that artwork. I think it's really cool. This is the alternate artwork that was done by an artist, I forget his name. But yeah, if you invert the cover, you'll see the original artwork. You see the picture on screen. That's from my Instagram account. Remember, you can follow me on Instagram. Let me know in the comments which artwork you prefer. But yeah, basically what the game's about is it's about Michael Douglas, who plays a fairly wealthy investment banker. It's the eve of his 48th birthday. As I say, he's very wealthy. He's living in this big mansion, but he's got nothing really. He's separated from his wife. He's living a pretty lonely existence, and David Fincher does a good job of showcasing that in the early part of the movie. He then meets up with his kind of brother that he hasn't seen in years, who's played by Sean Penn, and they have a bit of a dinner, and he gives him this card and basically tells him to phone this company who are like a kind of experiences company. I forget the name that they use in it, but he's bought him this kind of experience which is going to be life changing, and it kind of hints at the idea that this Conrad guy's has used this and it's kind of changed his life, but we don't know much about him. He's quite mysterious. We then kind of learn through flashback that Michael Douglas's character, Nick Van Orton's dad, killed himself on his 48th birthday, and it never really gets explained as to why. So we find him, as I say, celebrating his 48th birthday on his own with this sad, pathetic little birthday cake with 1 candle in it. And he sits contemplating his life, feeling a bit sad, and he gets the old card out and he decides to give it a phone. So he goes in and sees them, and he's got all these tests to go through and whatnot, psychiatric stuff, and he's a bit kind of pissed off with it to begin with. And he gets told after filling out all these tests that he's not suitable for it, and his application's been rejected. And that's when the film starts to get interesting, because then all these kind of weird things start happening, which are obviously the game. He starts to clock on to the fact that it's been a ruse, that it's been rejected, and he's obviously now in the game. And it starts off kind of minor stuff, and then it really goes off the tracks for him, and it becomes quite an interesting thriller. I really enjoyed it. It came out between Seven and Fight Club, so it kind of gets forgotten about, which is what I mentioned in my Letterboxd review. As I say, it kind of gets forgotten about, but I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it 3.5. It's not as good as those aforementioned films, but it's really worth a watch. I would describe it as Gordon Gekko gets Scrooged, right? And when you watch it, hopefully that'll make more sense to you. I don't want to spoil it, but really recommend it, and really pleased with it for, as I say, £9 or £10 with postage. But that's The Game. The second title that I got direct from Arrow was Terry Gillingham's 12 Monkeys. Now I covered this on an episode of my 4K forecast because it's just been released on 4K, but I've never actually seen it, and I think it was $24.99 or $19.99 or something. I know it's a bit of a sci-fi classic. It stars Bruce Willis and Brad Pitt most notably, and I think it was the kind of first film that Terry Gillingham did that had kind of mainstream appeal. I know he'd done loads of other stuff to that point, but you know, I think it's, if you're a Terry Gillingham fan, you'll enjoy it, but I think this appealed to a wider audience as such. I've not seen it yet, not had a chance to watch it. As I say, it came out in 4K, and that's what kind of put it on my radar. That's what I mentioned in the video. And then in the Arrow sale I noticed it was going for $8.99. What I also clocked was, if I hold it up to the camera, is that this Blu-ray has a 4K scan, so it's just been compressed down to the 1080p. Usually that results and very good visuals, even for a Blu-ray. It's a cut above, you know, a normal 2K restoration. So that's made me think, oh, do you know what, I'll just get the Blu-ray, because it'll probably look really good. Yeah, the 4K will probably look better, but given I've not seen it, it's a blind buy. $8.99 seemed the more sensible option. What I love about Arrow is these alternate covers and all the raft of special features you get on them. Again, you can let me know what artwork you prefer. I think I prefer the red alternate one, but let me know in the comments anyway. And if you've seen 12 Monkeys, should I be looking forward to it? But that's 12 Monkeys. So the next two I got from Xavi because I was kind of miffed that I had to pay for the postage direct from Arrow. And it's weird because Arrow, I believe, is part of the Hut Group, which owns Xavi as well, so I don't understand why you get free postage with Xavi, but you don't get it with Arrow, but hey ho. So I jumped over to Xavi and I've got the VIP membership there for the red carpet, which gives you now 10% on top of everything, even stuff that's already on sale. So that meant that I was getting, you know, a little bit of money off the $8.99 and I wasn't paying postage either. So it made sense for me to get stuff from Xavi, so I'm going to remember that for next time. But the next pickup, or the last pickup I should say, which is a little bit more niche, was Future Shock. Now this is a feature-length documentary basically about the story. It says there, the story of 2000 AD, the comic book strip. I haven't actually read much of 2000 AD at all, but I'm familiar with obviously some of the characters, most notably Judge Dredd that's on the cover there. But I really enjoyed this documentary. I got really sucked into it. It's really cool how it's done. It's broken into chapters. It obviously begins speaking with Pat Mills, who's the kind of most notable founder of it. He's a really colourful character and he's good to listen to, quite sweary, typical of 2000 AD. And so are the rest of the guys. Quite a lot of Scottish guys in there as well, which was good to see, behind the creative talent. But these guys they're really cool. You know, you can see where the reputation for 2000 ADs came from these guys' personalities. Just quite rock and roll as far as comic books go. But it kind of charts where 2000 AD came from. You know, it's rooted in the late 70s kind of punk movement in the UK. There's a lot of political unrest then, you know, Margaret Thatcher and all that. And that's where that angst and that kind of anti-authoritarian motivation came from, if you like. And they go on to explain that Judge Dredd is basically influenced by Margaret Thatcher, which I would never have thought of. But yeah, that's why he's written as being a bit of a fascist and a bit kind of totally over the top when it comes to the way he deals out justice. But I found that really interesting. But yeah, there's loads of good stuff in there about how the characters came about, and it's quite interesting. It gives you a right good insight into the comic book world, and it explains how like a lot of the guys from 2000 AD got poached eventually over to like some Marvel and DC. They had an influence in some of those comics. So really, some of the most loved and bespoke DC stuff, Marvel stuff, whatever, is rooted in 2000 AD. And if it wasn't for 2000 AD, you might not have those titles. So really cool. And Grant Morrison's in there as well, and he talks about it. He's a Scottish guy who's went on to work with DC and Marvel. And it kind of explains how a lot of these guys used to not have the rights to the characters they wrote, and they didn't make much money out of it, which was quite sad. And I think it's a shame that, you know, comic book writers, they're so intelligent. They've given us these brilliant characters. Yeah, we know Stan Lee and all that, and he'll have made a fortune, the late Stan Lee. But a lot of these guys really don't make any money at all. And then you think the studios come off the back of them, and these guys that weren't really the creative talent, you know, didn't put these characters to paper, are the ones that end up making the money. But maybe that's just life, isn't it? But it's definitely worth a watch. It's loaded with special features, so like extended interviews. So if there's a guy in particular you like listening to, like I like listening to Grant Morrison, probably because he was Scottish, and there's an extended interview on there for him. So I was getting tore into that. But really good. And each chapter's spliced with kind of animation in the style of the comics with your favourite characters and stuff. So I really can't recommend Future Shock highly enough. It's really good. And you also get some input from Alex Garland, who directed Ex Machina and I think wrote the screenplay and directed the 2012 Dredd movie, which is awesome. And there's a little bit from Carl Urban as well, just talking about how much he loves the character and how thrilled he was to play it so authentically. But a little bit more on a 2000 AD character later on, but that's Future Shock, and it's definitely worth a buy. So finally on to the 4K title. Now this was kind of put on my radar. I've known about this title for years, but another YouTuber who I really enjoy watching is Mondo Chelovic's Movies. So John over there, I kind of came across John when I was kind of researching my own channel, and I got sucked in because I like his casual style. He's quite funny. And yeah, he's just kind of no nonsense, but you just get sucked in by him, and he's good, and he knows what he's talking about. He's got a cracking collection. Talented guy as well, does all his own music for his videos and stuff. But yeah, definitely worth checking out John over at Mondo Celovec Movies, and I'll put a link down in the description for him. But yeah, he bought Battle Royale on 4K. I think he picked up this exact version, and he went on about how good it was. I've known about it for years. I know that it's been the inspiration for a lot of the big video games we have now, you know, like PUBG and all that, Fortnite, probably most notably now the Warzone game that's obviously from Activision Call of Duty, which has just taken the world by storm. But the Battle Royale and the ethos of that, I think all pretty much came from this Japanese movie that came out in 2000. Not seen it yet, so I can't really tell you much about it, but I know how influential it's been. But really pleased to pick up this 4K. This is just a standard one. I think they did a fancier box set, but I would never have paid that because I don't know the film, and it would be kind of a blind buy. But I was quite pleased with this. It's almost like a mini box set. So it's got this kind of like hard slip, which is pretty cool. It's just the J card that's on the back with the special features. But yeah, it's quite nice, the artwork. Quite an unusual one that comes out from the bottom. I'm assuming that's the characters that are going to play the game. But yeah, it's all these school kids that are put on an island, given random weapons without favouritism, and they're basically told that it's a fight to the death. To motivate them, they've all got an explosive collar, I believe, around their necks, so nobody's getting out of it. If you're a pacifist, you're in bother. But yeah, they have to fight it out, pretty violent, but I think it's a really good movie from what I've been told, and I'm looking forward to watching it. But yeah, special features wise, you get the original theatrical version and the special edition director's cut, which have both had scans of the original negative, so it's like native 4K, the HDR's in Dolby Vision, and the sound is HDSDT 5.1. So really looking forward to watching Battle Royale. And as I say, thanks John for putting it on my radar and letting me know I could get it cheap. After my discount through Xavi and free delivery, I think it was something like £16, which I thought was brilliant for Battle Royale, especially that it's in this kind of special box set and whatnot. So that was my 4K Arrow pickup of April. Okay, so now that you've seen what I picked up from the Arrow sale with regards to my Blu-rays and my 4K, now I'm just going to talk about this cool subscriber mail that I got from my good friend Ellis over at Total Movie Recall. I've plugged Ellis on the channel before because I really do enjoy his Instagram, and we became good pals just chatting back and forward via direct message. He's also now created his own YouTube spin-off channel where it's more of a kind of long form conversation about movies, and he's done 3 episodes so far. I'll leave a link down in the description for Ellis's Instagram and his YouTube channel, but it's definitely worth checking out. I've enjoyed it, and I dare you not to end up buying one of the many films that they talk about on there. The first 3 episodes have been with his friend Badger Phipps, who's also on Instagram, his own YouTube channel. There'll be links in the description for him as well. But yeah, he's like the Barry White of Blu-ray. Once you hear Badger talking, you'll know exactly what I mean. But yeah, to give this subscriber mail a little bit of context and backstory, I'll just give you a quick clip just now of Ellis and Badger in action.
Don't judge me, judge Dredd. And I'm not talking about Dredd that come out a couple of years ago. I'm talking about Judge Dredd from '95.
Okay, I said I wouldn't judge, right? Thou shalt not judge, thou shalt not judge. I mean, first of all, I actually really do like that film. I really do like Judge Dredd. Yeah, I really like it. I think it's underrated. I hate Rob Schneider in it. I hate him in it.
Me and you both.
But I really do think that was a solid, fun film that to this day mostly looks really good. It's played pretty well with a very stone cold Sylvester Stallone. I still like his performance in it. I'm sorry guys. I think it's solid. I like it. But I definitely wouldn't put it anywhere fucking near my top 5.
Judge Dredd from '95 is a full-on adventure action caper. It's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, I won't spend any more time on Judge Dredd, but
hey, there's nothing wrong with what you've just done. I think that film needs more appreciation. There's nothing wrong with what you've just done, Ellis.
It really does.
I like that film.
And I'm looking at you, Andy Electric Geek, who's got a brilliant YouTube channel. Go and check him out. But yeah, man, watch Judge Dredd again.
So I hope you enjoyed that little clip of the guys doing their thing over there on the Total Movie Recall YouTube channel. Like I say, definitely check it out and subscribe, help the guys get off the ground. So you've probably guessed what Ellis decided to send me. He wasn't just happy with digging me up on the YouTube channel. He, in the end, actually sent me this copy of Judge Dredd on Blu-ray, so I can't thank you enough, mate. Really chuffed for that. It is something I'd like to have. I have, in my opinion, the far superior Dredd from 2012 from Alex Garland on 4K, which I had to get from America.
I knew you'd say that.
But that being said, I did watch this recently on DVD after we'd been talking about it, Ellis, and now that we've had the far superior Dread, you can kind of watch this 90s Stallone flick and just enjoy it for what it is. What I will say about it is, it's about an hour and a half long, and it's entertaining for the 90isms, if nothing else. But yeah, just like on the cover, the helmet gets ditched after about 5 minutes, which annoyed loads of people, especially fans of the 2000 AD comic. And I mean, look at the cover art. Even Stallone is more prominent than the actual name of the movie, but the cover kind of sums up everything that's wrong with it. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed the costume design and the set design as well. It feels quite kind of Paul Verhoeven-y. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out, and I can see why it's a guilty pleasure, mate. It's always going to be Dread 2012 for me, but fair enough. I'll give you your dues. This isn't that bad, and thanks very much for sending me it on Blu-ray. I'm super chuffed with that. But he wasn't actually done there. After I'd unwrapped his beautifully presented subscriber mail, after banana, after banana, after banana, I eventually got into the goods, and obviously there was the Judge Dredd on Blu-ray, which I knew was coming. But what I didn't know was coming was this other stuff that he sent me. So Ellis's partner, fiance, girlfriend, don't want to offend, she has her own Instagram page. I forget what it is now. I think it's Babes Doing Bits. I might leave a link if I can find out what that's called. But yeah, she does really cool artwork, and it's what he uses on his Instagram. So he sent me some of these. So obviously you've got Arnie from Total Recall, Judge Dredd himself, else have we got Kill Bill, can't remember his name, but one of the goons from Batman, obviously. And then we've got Sigourney Weaver and Aliens there as Ripley. But yeah, really chuffed for them, mate. I've always enjoyed the artwork on your page, and your missus is very talented. So I'm definitely going to do something with these, put them into like a collage or something. But I'm sure you'll agree, people watching, those are really cool. And it didn't stop there, so recently, if you've been following the channel, you'll know I covered RoboCop on 4K, and I did an unbox of the recent Arrow limited edition box set. If you haven't checked it out, there'll be a card at the top of the screen, you can check it. But because he knew I was into RoboCop and we'd had a few conversations about that, he also sent me this really cool comic from Marvel's run of RoboCop, The Future of Law Enforcement, which I didn't even know existed. It's an original print from 1990, and it's issue 5, I think, of the series. So reading it, not knowing that this even existed, reading issue 5, it's obviously quite hard to understand what's going on. But from what I could digest from it is basically that RoboCop is now being used by OCP. He's been leased out to various different parts of the world that are in conflict to kind of fight their battles from them. And he's been heavily sedated so that obviously Alex Murphy's conscience doesn't intervene there. But I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. He's probably going to end up fighting for the rebels or something. But yeah, really interesting take on RoboCop, and I might source more of these. But what I'd like to do is just also frame that as well, because it's really cool. So Ellis, yeah, I can't thank you enough. Really chuffed. You didn't have to go to that extent, but I'm glad you did. And as I say, really happy with what you sent me, mate. But that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like my pickups. Let me know what you think of them. As always, comment down below and let me know what you think of that subscriber mail. It was pretty awesome. If for whatever reason you want to send me anything, you know, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be anything grand. If you want to send me a film that you want me to review or whatever, or you know, help support the channel, then of course you can. My link's there for Instagram, and obviously you can email me as well, and I'll get in touch. I like chatting to the various different people on YouTube and on Instagram, especially about movies and stuff, so please feel free to get in touch should you wish to. But that's everything for this video, guys. As always, like, share and subscribe to like many people who help us grow the channel. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Andy the Electric Geek, and I'll catch you in the next video.